Hello, friends. How are you today? I'm so happy to be here with you and to talk about an energy review of the past week and to talk a little bit about what the current energies are. And I think that we'll talk a little about trends that are unfolding over the next few days and upcoming. And to do that, we're going to look at the Schumann resonance, which is a non-physical energy in the air around us from our feet to, the top of the atmosphere that essentially is in the same hertz range as human brain waves. Someone asked me recently, like, what is that? How is it measured? They wanted something more tangible to understand it. And what I said was, think about computer Wi-Fi, right? Your computer receives a non-physical signal at a certain hertz level. Same thing with your cell phones, right? Same thing with your handheld, if you still have a handheld phone from, landlines. Same thing with a television, although a lot of those are cable now. But that's the kind of energy it is, just floating in the air. And it operates at the same range as human brain waves. And so that is one of the reasons why I use it as a map of the chart, as a map of human consciousness. It's also an electromagnetic energy, and we are electromagnetic beings. We actually generate EM fields, the strongest one being in our heart. And, you become aware of this when it's wintertime, like right now, and you drag your feet somewhere and then, suddenly get a little electric shock. You learn that our bodies can conduct electricity, and in fact, we do emit an EM field. And we, in my view, also emit the energy of our own soul, our own incarnation here at various levels, depending on how we embody the human body. But anyway, the other way we're going to look at it is the astrology, because it's so amazing. The astrology of the new moon just fits so well with what I've been seeing in the Schumann resonance and also the going forward energies. I really was thinking so much about this today, so I want to share that with you. Okay, now I wanted to say I'm having a course. It's going to be a 6-week course on the basics of human energy, and it'll be a nice, intimate discussion. We'll be on Skype. We'll be able to see each other's faces. And if you'd like to participate, if you could send me an email. We now have, I think, 3 or 4 people that are interested, and I can take. I'm thinking of possibly starting the course once I get to 6 people, but I can take up to 9, but then I can't take any more than 9 because of the technology that I'm using right now. So I really look forward to doing this with you guys, and I'll put a link to my contact page below. Then you can send me an email, and then I'll get back to you on days and times, because we're going to do it once a week over 6 weeks, and we'll start mid-February, end of February, or beginning of March. Okay, so if this video resonates with you, if you could please share it, like the video, and subscribe to my channel. I would really, really appreciate that if you like what you see here. And then I wanted to tell you a funny story. I was talking with my friend Ralph today, and my friend Ralph is, he's been on the stage many times. He was a singer, and so he pays attention to presentation. And he was talking to me about my voice on these videos. And if you notice, I do have 3 live streams, so you can see my regular talking voice. But he was, because I do get comments, and I really appreciate you guys commenting on the channel about people seem to like my voice. And, it's interesting because when I started recording these videos, and I started recording, I don't know, I think it was actually I think it could have been like 6 years ago now, because I started on a different channel than this one. And I started recording at 5:30 in the morning, so it was really dark. And some videos that I make, even recently, like right now, it's dark out. It's the middle of the night. In somewhere in my last few videos, I recorded at 2 a.m. So I don't know. I guess that, and of course I do record during the day as well, but that kind of started that style for me. So I just wanted to share that with you and, share a little, I don't know how this began. Okay. My Susan-inspired speaking voice on these videos. So, but I'm so delighted that, that you all, seem to receive it very well. So thank you. All right, so let's take a look at the energies. Okay, so this is the current Schumann resonance chart, and I looked at the chart, and it's kind of just a lot more of the same, of this green energy without so much of the red. So I'm just going to stick with this since it's the middle of the night. And the next chart isn't complete yet. So I wanted to share, I made my last video on this white image here and what came before it. And I wanted to share what I'm seeing here in the chart. And we're going to look at both the black charts of frequency, amplitude, and quality. And I'm going to interpret the images here and the energies. Let me show you the black charts first. So it was really interesting how broken up the red resonance appeared. I don't know, I think it was about 2 days ago. Okay, so it was with the new moon. So, February 2nd was the day after the new moon. But you can see what happened here, actually. You see the ups and downs were much more sharp, and the range was 0.4 hertz. But the movement in the range, you see how tight this is here? The movement in the main range was much more dramatic and up and down. Almost like, so there's being within a certain range, and then there's how the flow of the energy looks represented on the graph within that range. And so here you're more dramatically going from, lows to highs, okay? And then again, peaking low, high, lower, high, low, end of the range, high. Then compare that with what it looks like here, okay? You can see it's much more smooth, which much less variation. And so what I kind of felt like, in my last video, the one with the heavy vehicle in the thumbnail, you can see that I talked about the Jericho effect and these big heavy vehicles driving and rumbling down the road. I mean, these are big vehicles. They weigh tons. And then they're emitting these huge honks, these huge blaring, well, they're really trumpeting in a way. I view Archangel Gabriel as the spiritual, I don't know, the spiritual, like going ahead of them blowing her horn or his horn. So it looked to me like the walls began to tremble here. Okay, you can go back to that for a deeper story about the walls of Jericho and the effect of the vibrations on the status quo, and that represented by the establishment, established this, that, and the other thing in the cities. Okay, so that was really interesting. And the other really interesting thing about this, you can see that the yellow was secondarily most affected here. Very dramatic moves as well. And that makes sense because to me, this red represents a depth of layer in our energy fields of emotion, of sort of tangled thinking, of the shadow aspects of our personality, but also our deep passion. And that goes along to me with the yellow, because in my view, the yellow represents the non-physical closest to the human body, which is also called the astral, and which I call the fourth dimension. So, like, and in my view, human expressions that are non-physical are in the fourth dimension, are in the astral, which would include, okay, thoughts, emotions, that are less buried, so they're not really necessarily part of our shadow. They're part of what's just actively rolling around in our field. And my last video, I explained a lot about this and how to lift up your energy field by bringing the light of the soul, the light of God, to the emotions in your field and the thought loops in your field. And that's my last video, and it has a hand reaching towards the sun, the light of the soul, the light of God. Okay, so so let me make this smaller. Okay, so you can see that we're getting the dips again in the red when we get the white resonance movements, and that's been happening. We had 2 dips during this day and a lower dip here, so I don't know, we'll see. The amplitudes were again strongest in the white resonance, and then this time on the chart they were secondarily strongest in the yellow, with red and green really staying at their power levels they had been at over recent days. So again, to me, this is the divine, the white representing the divinity, the expanded energies, acting, that they're the primary movers right now. And then secondarily, the non-physical of the human being, which would be, our thoughts and our emotions. I mean, we're heightened here. This was really something, okay? And it's really something because, let's see if I can kind of just, okay, so keep an eye on this area here, okay? So between 10 and like 20, okay? And you can see here that's where the amplitudes went up. So we got 10 to 20, okay? So we did have some frequency movements down. And we did have this white resonance here, okay? Now, it's interesting because this sent that red quality out of whack, I'm just going to call it, because it came off of that, mid-20s level hertz for the red resonance quality for almost 10 hours. But you don't have, it doesn't visually look that big on the chart. But you know what I saw here in this image? I saw a couple of people, and I see other people here. Let me make it a little bigger for you. See, I see their faces here. Actually, a group of people. Okay, and here's another one. I see this one looking to the right. This one here, the furthest, it almost looks like an angel, because it looks like a male angel to me with golden hair and a headband. So he looks so austere to me and like in a prayerful state, just standing there and kind of blessing this crowd of people. And I secondarily saw it as a couple from further away. Couples, friendship, relationships, and blessings on these. And so I want to relate this to the red resonance. And what I'm saying here is that, you see, the coming together of people, it generates light in the heart, right? The soul connection, that place in the heart where we connect with God, gets activated and lit up. It's because of love, okay? And so it's something that I didn't talk about as much in the last video about the Jericho effect 2 videos back with the truck and the thumbnail, but I've been wanting to talk about it now, is that you see, it's the love in the human heart that is the power here. It's the divinity within us. And in that image, which I intuitively interpreted as both a group of people having with a heavenly blessing, blessing their path, blessing their actions, but also a couple lovingly coming together to share love, to have a relationship. It could be friends. It could also be a couple to in marriage, or that's kind of how it felt to me, like a couple in relationship, okay, where they want to build a home, they want to build a family, but look how much that broke up this. It's just pretty amazing. And you can see the quality also broke up here, right, when we had that walls trembling effect. So the quality has been in the mid to high 20s, okay, but look at this chart and look how much, and then, okay, that today, on Friday, essentially, look at the red resonance has really got knocked off its mojo, okay? It's really kind of got uncentered, if you will, because it had been just really restricted to this narrow range here. And something has knocked it off. And I think it's this trembling of the walls. And I think it's the love in the human heart of people coming together. I mean, across this entire huge country, okay, of Canada starting this off. And then now, friends, I mean, it's the most amazing thing. And it has been warming my heart so much. It's incredible. There's so much I want to share with you about this, but I don't want to share. I want to share only a thumbnail just to keep it, I guess, in the sacred. But as I've mentioned in the past, I'm in a very, very quote unquote blue area on the West Coast, and you would be amazed at what is starting to happen here. There are people starting to have protests and rallies carrying the American flag and about ending certain things that you can guess. So let me tell you something. Okay, before the lockdowns, this is the level of insanity. Okay, before the lockdowns, I don't know if it was 2018 or 2019, I was in a local grocery store, and this was at the, height of the political divisions and heightened frenzy of that energy. And I walked into a grocery store, and people were giving me dirty looks, and the energy was so negative that the person I was with, I was like, oh my God, what is it? It was like, there were almost like people wanting to come at me. It was very strange, okay? And I thought, what has changed between today and like 2 days ago when I was in the store? And I was looking down as I was thinking, and I realized I was wearing a shirt with an American flag on it. And that a certain group of people had been riled up, okay, to be angry about that, about someone wearing a shirt with that on it, okay? So look, I mean, pray for us, okay? Everybody should pray for everybody at this point. But I mean, I'm just talking, okay? So violet flame on it all. And on that experience that I had, it was quite something, okay? And so people are really waking up, okay? So whatever you are doing, keep doing it. Keep doing the magic that you're doing, because I'm telling you, I'm reporting to you that it's happening. And it's amazing. And even more than that is happening, but I'll just save that for some other day. Maybe you guys will read about it somewhere someday. Okay, so, and it's all positive, positive, peaceful, legal stuff. Okay, so at any rate, I probably just shot down my my viralness. Talking about that yet again. What can I say? Okay. So anyway, here we go. So here's the breakup. Okay, here's the breakup of the quality, and I don't want to go into this anymore. I'm gonna talk about the images here. So this is what I saw. Okay, so here we had the white elephant, the heavy vehicles, the big buffalo, kind of bringing this big energy. And this happens at the new moon, okay, because the new moon was on February 1st on the chart. Now this is February 2nd, so it's continued into February 2nd, these energies. And then we had this big opening, and it's so interesting because that kind of coincided with Pluto moving to 27 degrees, 0 minutes. Now, 27 degrees is the degrees at which the United States was, that's where our Pluto was in Capricorn on July 4th, 1776. And it's like then this curtain just opens, okay, of possibility. Because now what's happened, okay, the walls have shooken. Okay, they're not coming down yet, but they're trembling. Okay, there's a tremble. Ugh. You know, and it's kind of like there's a place that I walk, okay, down by the water, and there's you know, we have these hills here that are very much, they're not bedrock, okay. We have a lot of hills by the ocean here. We do have bedrock, of course, but we have a lot of hills that are very loose, okay, kind of a geologist friend of mine came and was extremely dismissive of the rock quality, okay, when I took her on the walk. But it's rock that breaks up very easily and is very loose, okay. So I'm comparing this with the trembling of the walls, okay, that's what this story's about. So let me put this back on the main thing here. So what I'm trying to say is that over, you know, several years, okay, I've walked by these walls. I've done prayers at the bottom of these walls. I've done energy work at the bottom of these walls. I've just relaxed at the bottom of these walls, you know, written in my diary. And, but, okay, sitting below the walls, once in a while, I could hear this, okay, and it would just be like a few little grains of sand and tiny rocks, but you could hear it, okay. It was not unnoticeable, and it was over time. Oh my goodness, it was. I'm just considering if I should just get to the point here, or if I should continue telling stories. I don't know. Tell me if you like to hear these stories, or if you want a shorter video. I just don't know. Okay, what to do here. But this is what I wanted to tell you, is that it took years, but recently, let's see, it started. There was a big storm. Okay, about a year and a half ago, and a tree fell down. That was the first thing that happened. The walls were still on the hill, but the tree fell, and it fell like out almost into the ocean for, you know, most of the day. Okay, but then what happened was, and I was like, oh, okay, you know, when I went on that walk, I was like, oh, you know, no, it's a lot harder to do the walk when there's a huge tree in the middle of it. But basically, but you could still, you know, you could still enjoy being out there, whatever. Okay, well, now there's been quite a few storms, and like an entire section of the cliff just fell. And now the rest of the cliff, you see all these trees, like they're small trees, okay, but they're upside down, right? Or there's bushes upside down. But and I was out looking at it the other day when I was walking, and you can see up at the top. Now it's pretty recognizable. You can see where part of the hill is being is starting to tear away again, because now a main part fell. Okay, so now some other stuff. It's like if you had a slow motion, I don't know over how many years, that's it's coming down. Okay. So, and once again, I stand a lot farther from the wall now. But once again, I was standing out there, and we're coming down the hill. Okay. And so it's just, isn't it fascinating that on the walk that I do, this cliff wall has, been falling over the recent years, and I'm talking about Jericho, and then it's so perfect. It's in just such divine perfection that this is going on in my daily life, where I'm noticing this, and then it just relates so perfectly to the energies, and I can share this story to help you understand. So what's happening is, it's like right now the walls vibrated and flexed for a moment there, okay, at the new moon. And the new moon is the indicator of what is new. Okay, what's the theme for the month? And I don't know how long the walls would take to flex, but it started. The walls have started to tremble. Okay, so then what happens is the walls tremble, and, within the 3-day period around the new moon, where the energies are most intense, Pluto moves to 27. Now, it's not exact yet. That's going to happen on February 20th, where Pluto moves to the exact degree that it was at. Now I'm getting emotional. On July 4th, 1776, and oh wow, it's just, boy, I get filled with emotion thinking of that for some reason. Okay, all right, so then what happens is this is how I see the energies in this chart, okay? It's so fascinating. It's like there's a breakup of time on the chart, okay? And this was the current moment. And now what's happened is the current moment has kind of dropped away here with these vertical lines, and now you have like open possibility, okay? And then it's like this is out of time. There's an assessing, a shifting, a pivoting, okay? That's what I feel with this. See how it just kind of comes down in the middle here, and it's like, how do I ground here, okay? And then you have another opening. Now, see, what it is the opening is actually this whole thing. This is out of time, okay? It's almost separate from, it should be like this, okay? It should be like this, okay? And then there's this energy that comes in while we're all doing this that says, what's going on here? We're assessing. It's like the divinity within our hearts. It's like the energy of humanity is looking at ourselves, and we're saying, what are we doing here? And look how active, the energies are in the mid-beta, which is our integrated thinking, our analytical thinking. And I want to show you something about that. Not this one here. It was this one. Okay, so what I did was I put the chart into sepia, which just makes it I just changed the colors on the chart, and I brightened the light in the chart. So what you see here is, you see all these straight lines that were coming down. Where's the new moon here? It was here on this day. Okay, so the new moon comes in, and then here's where that elephant was. And do you see how the energies are so different here, right, than here? It's like they've become dustified. I'm going to take that cursor off so you can see. Can you see, like, there's like an elephant? No wonder I wrote elephant, and there's the tail. Or a buffalo. Okay, I saw a Canadian cowboy riding a buffalo with a flag on video this evening. It was so awesome. Oh my God! And there was a buffalo in the chart, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so I'm just really doing free flow today. Oh my goodness! Look at this. I just saw this. Look, here's that guy again looking into the chart. Look how good you can see the eyes. Ooh, it also looks like it could be an animal. At first, when it was smaller, I thought it was a man, and now it looks like more like an animal. Look, 2 eyes and the nose. Look at that. Now, I talked about this imagery in this part of the chart here. This is in the lower hertz. I talk about this in my video with the triangle in the thumbnail. It's about 3 or 4 videos back. And this does look like an animal. Thanks for your contribution to my dog contributing his 2 cents. And what I talked about was that the animal in this layer of hertz, which is the subconscious, guards the path to the information we have in our unconscious, which is here. So here's the animal, okay, and the unconscious is not accessed, okay? But look here, okay? Here's the energy helping us access it. Wow, look at this weird, scary thing. Do you see this little guy here? Here's like his white robe and feet down here and weird big white head. That's creepy. There's some weird stuff in our subconscious, and it can be scary to face, okay? But if you bring God with you, the Most High, the Creator of the universe, if you bring, you can bring Archangel Michael with you. You can bring your guardian angels with you of the highest light. You can bring your higher self with you to face these things. And once you defeat the fear within, okay, it's the fear, and you come with the light that you are. Okay, then you'll see the truth about whatever this is, what it truly represents. Right now, it looks like a little alien dude in a black robe, but that's just very strange. Okay, now up here, this is so interesting. I just keep seeing different kinds of faces up here, even like another animal face here. But what is hidden in our subconscious and our unconscious are gifts for us, okay? And so the new moon energy is helping to highlight this. I mean, what makes us stronger, okay, is to meet our fears, our own fears, with love and walk forward, okay? Whether that's walking forward by shining the light of transparency within. Okay, and I explain a lot about this in my most recent videos. And what happens is when we bring love, understanding, compassion for ourselves, we can recover what we have lost in terms of because we were afraid, because we were angry. And friends, that's really what's happening here with the situation with, people creating these big demonstrations with the big heavy vehicles. What are they doing? They're bringing the light of transparency to recover what they have lost. And so here's the thing, if you're not in an area where this is going on or you can help, or that's just not possible for you for some reason, this process of recovering what is hidden from you in the subconscious and unconscious, it's my view that this deeply benefits us as an individual. I mean, when you do it in divine timing, in alignment with your highest good, with the love that you are, and so on. There's processes to use, okay? But you see what happens is that the energy seems to dustify here. That's what the new term I'm using. It dustifies, okay? And what does that do? Its stuff is broken up now. The walls trembled. And so what happens? Dust comes off. Just like I was hearing falling down the hill. Little bits of detritus dropping down, little bits of sand, little bits of rock, okay, prior to the whole wall falling, okay? So this is a process. I don't know how long it takes, but in energy, that's what I'm seeing. So I just want to also address this on the chart, and this here is what I saw was this whole thing initiates here in the subconscious with whatever this black these black dots represent for you personally or for us as a society. And what happens is this energy becomes brought forth, okay? So what happens is these lines come in and they start to vibrate it, and that brings it forth. And the light of transparency comes and that brings it forth so we can more clearly see it. And what is it? Is some kind of a red square. And then the light of transparency comes and does this big clearing of energy here and here. Okay, and then it calls it forth. What is this thing from the past? Or what is this thing from the lower frequencies? Okay, well, here it looks a little devilish to me. Some weird, strange, dark red face there. Okay, it calls it forth. Now it's some kind of yellow dragon. It calls it forth. What is it now? Okay, now we see it a little more clearly. It looks like this. Okay, and so that's the process that seems to be going on here. And then we're bringing these, as the bits come forth, we run them through our subconscious and assess them. Now, I want to say something, which is there was also some major activity going on. I'm not sure if it was on this chart or the few hours after this, but between China and Russia, there was a huge big pact they signed, and it seemed to be a big global shift, big global happening, number one. And number two, there's the Olympics going on, there's the Chinese New Year. I haven't talked about this on the chart because I'm just going with the energies that I'm comfortable with talking about. But if you wanted to make a contribution or say what you feel in ways that are, discerning and discreet, then I would appreciate that. Go ahead and make some, let me know what you think. I'd be happy to hear that. But keep it to something that, is going to not get shadow banned, okay? So, anyway, thank you for doing that too. All right, now I wanted to, I was going to do the astrology energy review. Okay, I think I'll do that here too. Okay, so here's the new moon energy, and I have January 31st up here, but for the East Coast and much of the world, it was actually February 1st. And so I just wanted to talk about the key themes here, and because they relate with the Schumann energies, number one, and number two, because I think that it's a good way to look forward at what's going to happen, to look at the astrology. I did try last week to tie in movements with the Schumann chart, and it was I'd say it was a little hit or miss. So I haven't perfected that yet. And then I had this huge rage fest that I was in for a week, which slowed my ability to write. So I'll pick that up again, but I want to go through this with you now. The big thing here is that the sun was at 12 degrees, which is sextile where the sun was at 12 degrees here, okay, in Sagittarius on the December 3rd and 4th solar eclipse. So this is a powerful sun energy here. And not only that, but I'm telling you, it's like at the same degree, okay? I mean, to the minute. I think it might have been 1222, or maybe it might have been exact 1220. Actually, let's just look at it. I have it here for you. Yeah, it was 1222. Okay, so here's the sun at 1222 at the eclipse. And the other amazing thing that happened was this gateway here. From Gemini to Sagittarius, and you might remember that I don't have it in this particular drawing. Wait, I have it. Where do I have it? I might have it here. Yeah. So you see here was at 10 degrees. Here was Antares, okay? And then here was Aldebaran, okay? So this made a gateway, all right? It made a gateway, a stargate, essentially. So that infused the sun and the moon energies here at 12 degrees during that solar eclipse. Okay. Now, that carries on into the energies here. Why? Because it is sextile within 2 minutes of what happened on December 3rd and 4th, depending on where you are in the world. Okay? So that energy of the gateway and of that stargate, now it comes in and communes in Aquarius, okay? The symbol and sign of moving into our future right now, okay? The innovation, the change, the group consciousness, and at the same time balance with the honoring of the individual in Leo, okay? In which you've got Varuna passing through. And so Varuna is the Hindu god of the sea, of justice and law and order, who binds sinners. Okay, so that speaks to kind of the quality of the individual that's going to be elevated in this new age. I can't even believe I'm using the word new age. I mean, I literally would have just laughed at myself 10 years ago, but here I am. And you know what? It is a new astrological age. Okay, so it's interesting. Apparently, the Bible talks a lot about the ages. Okay, and I listened to a fascinating. It might have been Cliff High, but where he was talking about how in the Bible, talking about the ages, that the thought is that they were talking about these big astrological ages where there's a movement of the planets into one sign or the other, however that works. Okay. All right. So now this gateway energy, here you have Saturn, and it's within 3 degrees, so it's pretty meaningful and impactful. You've got Saturn within 3 degrees of the new moon. Okay. So this Stargate energy and this beautiful energy of innovation with Aquarius comes in to the new structures that we are dreaming on here with Neptune and Pisces. Okay, and these new structures favor heroes. Okay, they favor a heroic approach because you've got Pallas Athena standing here dreaming with Neptune. Okay, and she is the goddess warrior who assists heroes. She assisted most of the great heroes in the Greek dramas. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to show you here was you've got Mars surrounded by, at the new moon, Nike and Metis. Metis is the wise counselor, and Mars is the god of war, but also this incredibly powerful energy. And then there's Nike with victory. Okay, so now Mars is carrying this energy forward, and he's going to meet up with Venus very soon. Venus has now stopped going retrograde, and tomorrow, on Saturday, this weekend, it starts to actually move forward and progress forward to the 12th degree. Okay. And so this, to me, is that relationships highlighted in the chart. Mars is much closer to Venus now. And when I saw that image in the Schumann chart here, it reminded me of Mars and Venus starting to move forward together. Okay. And I think that's what that represents. Now, they're going to go through some trials because they're about to pass by Pluto. Okay. And we'll have more on that later, but they're going to pass by Pluto, and passing, by Pluto is challenging. But if you bring your divinity, okay, if you choose to align within with the divinity that guides you, your conscience, okay, your sense of what is the right thing to do, not from an emotional or intellectual approach, but that inner sense, okay, that says this is it. And from the relationship with God, whether it's in prayer, meditation, doing energy work, your conscious connection with your soul. So that's going to be challenging, but it's going to hone the relationships so that those relationships that are worthy of moving forward, okay, into Aquarius, because it's amazing. Venus and Mars are going to literally walk hand in hand into Aquarius together, okay? They proceed together to 0 degrees and then to 1 degrees on the same days. Okay, so all right, so that's what's going on there. Now you have this really interesting energy here still. I've talked about it several times. Sedna, the dragon's head, the North Node, and Ceres. Ceres, the mother, has come to comfort Sedna, the child who was, traumatized. But now the North Node, because of its minutes, has moved between Sedna and the mother. Sedna had been comforting. She had come in retrograde back from Gemini to come here to comfort Sedna, and she was at the same degree, okay, with her motherly nurturing to help Sedna rise up out of the waters that she was tossed into somewhat unfairly, okay? And now the North Node, the dragon, okay, comes and unites with Sedna, okay, that gives her the fiery power to do so. Let me show you what has happened here. You can see, let's see, I'm going to use this chart. Okay, so you can see here what happened is that Mars, okay, was opposing, during the same solar eclipse, you had Mars opposing these energies of Sedna. Okay, and at the time I talked about, this is a great video, I talked about this whole thing with alcohol and all of it. Okay, so it was opposing, okay? So Mars was adding fiery energy to this part of the story of the energies that's going on right now. Then what happened was, okay, Mars then went in, when it went to the end of Sagittarius, it was in a quincunx with Sedna and Ceres, and that brings kind of a layer of divinity to it. It's challenging, but it's 1/2 of a yod, okay? So it's like a special focus of the energies. Now in Capricorn, as Mars proceeds with Venus, as it approaches Pluto, then and then passes Pluto. So as Venus and Mars past Pluto, they're going to be honed, okay? They're only going to be able to proceed forward with their divinity intact, and anything that doesn't cut it is going to drop away, okay? So thank you to my friend Andrea for her beautiful explanations of this, of Pluto. So then it passes Pluto to 28 degrees and then is in trine with Sedna. Okay, so then Pluto is already supporting Sedna to help recover her trauma, from her trauma. Now Mars is going to do the same. You don't normally see Pluto in that position, so that's really beautiful, okay? And then Mars is going to come into trine. So there's really a story here of, of male and female heroes, okay, coming to the aid of themselves, their families, their communities, and I'm sorry, the fan just went on in the background, their communities. And so this is a time of heroes, okay? This is a time, this has not been favored until now, okay? It just matches so beautifully with the astrology. And you see here, see how Lilith is all by her lonesome right now, okay? I made a video recently about the rage of Lilith, but what she is she is in sextile with Eris, okay? Eris, the goddess of war. And guess what? Eris is still square Pluto. Stirring things up a little bit here. And you're going to have Mars pass over Pluto, which will ignite the fire of Eris as well. So, something's going to happen here. And what it is Lilith is going to move into quincunx, okay, with Pluto when she gets to, towards the end of Gemini. And that's going to be very interesting, okay, because it's really, really interesting. I've noticed that with these big, truck movements, you've got some real male heroes there, and then you can see that there are women heroes in the background doing a lot of organizing, and so each of us has something to contribute in terms of those two aspects of duality, of us as human beings, because we're coming here to heal ourselves, our families, our communities. That's really the theme here, and it's so favored at the new moon as well. They never, it was never promised that it would be easy, but we do seem to have the backing of the divine, because I interpret in the Bible it says that there will be stars in the heavens, that I will give you, this isn't the exact wording, but I will give you stars in the heavens as signs, in the sky. All right, now I want to look at Hygeia and Uranus abundance, okay? So you see here that Uranus and abundance are at 10 degrees. They are semi-sextile where the star was, although apparently we don't do aspects to stars. However, they were within a 2-degree semi-sextile of the sun and moon. Okay, so once again, with that energy activated up here, I think you've also got an activation of it down here with abundance and Uranus being exact in conjunction, okay, and now opposing exactly Hygeia, which is health, in Scorpio. So what this could lead to is dramatic shifts and changes of health secrets coming out that benefit us, okay, because of abundance here. So, it's not easy, because look at all these aspects towards Hygeia. Not a lot of them are easy, except for Venus, which is pretty powerful. So what does Venus value right now? Part of what she values is her health, okay? And there's the potential for a dramatic shift in the favorable for that. And it certainly, it is a favorable sign for these protests to result in something that is beneficial for people and their health, okay? All right, now I want to show you one other thing here about these energies, because these energies are going to be carrying forward, especially in the next couple of weeks. But you had, I want to show you that you had, here it is, you had Anti-Eros, the asteroid Anti-Eros at 15 degrees. During the new moon, it was exactly conjunct Saturn at 15 degrees, okay? And so I wanted to talk about what this has meant for relationships. And what this has meant is that Anti-Eros and with the Venus-Mars dance that's going on right now, Saturn is structure, and Anti-Eros is, this is my interpretation now, it's very long-term, loyal relationships, almost like a higher, better, long-lasting, potent, but it's also the loss of this, and it's also the longing for this, okay? So I believe that this dynamic is partly what is driving the hearts of people, that energy that we saw on the Schumann. Right here. Okay, right here, and the people coming together in crowds, and here's the big, heavy vehicles all together, and all the people coming out to see them. I believe that this Saturn Anti-Eros sextile exactly is a big part of that, because it gives us the active longing for something better to occur, okay? And that's very dramatic. It's very dramatic, and one of the things that this can do for you in the current moment is bring a light to your relationships across the board, where they're working for you, where they're not. But it also brings special insights now. What's the truth of a relationship? What's the truth of your actions? What's the truth of, do you really care? And it's a very powerful time, and people may be dropping away from each other and reforming, okay, in new communities, in new relationships where they find closer connection in their values. Okay, I wanted to show you something interesting here. Here you have Atlantis right now, okay, at the new moon, which is this week, but at 7 degrees of Sagittarius, and it was exactly squaring Jupiter, okay? And it's really interesting. You could interpret this two ways. When I look at this Atlantis in the current times, I do have my own personal memories of Atlantis, and I did a film on that. It's a short 10-minute film called Atlantis Rising in the video list, so you can hear what I have to say about that. But essentially, I look at Atlantis in this chart as representing new technologies that are actually old technologies. The old is new again, okay? And that can even relate to technologies that are, quote unquote, possibly from secret programs, possibly that we've had for decades. And so you have Jupiter here coming and really fueling, okay, really, it's in a square, okay, so it's fueling the energy of this. At the same time, there's kind of a fight, okay? I think of squares as like a fight, okay? To see what's going to become dominant, or are we going to get along? So with Jupiter powering this symbol of Atlantis, okay, I think that it powers behind the scenes potentially, because this is square, so it may not come to light yet. But it may power this idea of new technology being presented that's actually old, that we haven't been told about, so it's actually old technology. But it also powers the power play between the forces of darkness and the forces of light, which was an ongoing battle at that time. Okay, although many of us weren't aware of it then, just as many people aren't aware of it now. You live and learn, or you don't live and you still learn because you're an eternal soul. Blessings on that violet flame. Let's transmute that to love. Whew. It also potentially, you could see it as the fight of the saboteurs of of love, because there was definitely sabotage in Atlantis, and we definitely are coming to see that our system in the West, that there's sabotage to us, to our cultures, to our systems, to our way of life. And that certainly was the case in Atlantis. And were there people that saw it in Atlantis? Yes, there were, but it's nothing like today. And thank God for that. Today it's like becoming a worldwide movement. In Atlantis, I think it was not like that. But I only have certain memories, so I certainly, and then there are probably many alternate timelines of that because it was so traumatic and so many people were involved. Okay, so that's what I wanted to really show you. And there's a lot more here that we could talk about, but The only other one that I really wanted to come back to was Lilith. And I just think that when she gets back into relation with Pluto, when she moves to 26 degrees, it's going to be really interesting because she's collected all this rage over this situation. But Pluto has honed himself, right? As Venus has passed back and forth in front of him. And Lilith has honed herself as she has passed by Rigel, which in some ways is very similar to the energy of Capricorn, Pluto and Capricorn. And so maybe in the transformation that Lilith has had to make and Pluto has had to make in this journey, maybe they've transformed for the moment into heroes.